Watch Transit TV right now.
I'm Tochukwu Michael. Keep watching Transit TV.
Now, Crystal Palace this season, they have struggled a little bit under Olivier Glasner. They have struggled. But I think Crystal Palace is a team that grows on confidence. So once their confidence is up, they begin to perform. And definitely they are going to get back to form. And that form they are going to hit back is exactly what we are seeing already with the game they played against Liverpool yesterday in the early kickoff game. Now, the early kickoff is always very tricky. It is either it has very few goals or it has a lot of goals. But most of the times it has.
Transit TV, welcome back to the studios, our EPL studios roundup of last weekend. Very intriguing weekend. We have some exciting games, exciting scorelines, and as usual, EPL lived up to its billing. You never know what you're going to get. Some very, I don't know how to put it, very surprising results came in. And today at the studio, we have a debutant. A brother from Nigeria, is a sports presenter, pundit, referee as well in the NPFL in Nigeria. He's joining us today with me and Ogum to look at a few of these key games over the weekend and serve you guys as usual beyond the scoreline perspective of some of these games, because obviously most of you watch the games with emotion as fans, but we try to extrapolate some views about these matches that probably did not pay attention to when you were watching. So guys, you are welcome to the show. Okay, nice to see you, bro. Thank you and welcome to
All right, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you as well, Reggie.
Ugum, good to see you again, bro. How have you been up to this morning?
Yeah, same here. Welcoming everyone to Transit, welcoming Kay to Transit TV. Again, like we always say at the beginning of the show, please go ahead and subscribe. Please share, please like the videos. Please invite as many of your friends. If you have any, invite them as well to watch our shows.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Guys, like you said, don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you have not done so, like and share the video as well. And after this one, don't keep your eye on the channel as well. NPFL roundup as well will be coming after this one. That video should be dropping tomorrow. We had some interesting results. Eventually, Remo Stars have lost their first game of the season, and Liverpool United are still unbeaten.
Oh wow!
On the league, yeah. So we're going to be bringing that later tonight, and the video will be dropping tomorrow on the channel. So for our NPFL fans out there, keep an eye on that one. But for now, we are staying on the EPL. Yeah, guys, it was a very intriguing weekend. The weekend started with Liverpool playing against at home against Crystal Palace 1-0, a very tricky win for them. Started that in a very dominant play by Liverpool. One would think that that was going to end like maybe 3-4-0, but EPL being what it is, scoreline somehow stayed at 1-0 by end of first half. Second half, Crystal Palace all of a sudden found. I say, if you watch my video, I said it looked like they went into the break and the coach kind of played them the video of the preparation for that game, and they kind of remembered what they planned to do with Liverpool, and they came back in a different mode, different animal, and posed different problems for Liverpool and created chances, made it a very good contest, and could have even equalized and won the game if they were clinical. And that one ended that way. So, okay, I don't know, what did you make of that game? General feeling about that match.
Basically, I wouldn't say I was surprised with the result of the game because Liverpool won. You look at both sides. Liverpool has been on a very high form since the start of the season. Crystal Palace, on the other hand, they've not been in such a great form, even though they ended last season very high.
Yeah.
With Eberechi Eze and Michael Olise being the focal point of the attack, alongside Jean-Philippe Mateta. But then, starting this season, they lost Michael Olise to Bayern Munich, and they have struggled ever since, even though they recruited the likes of Kamada from Eintracht Frankfurt. But then, he hasn't replicated the form that he's known for. So, now, Crystal Palace this season, they have struggled a little bit under Olivier Glasner. They have struggled. But I think Crystal Palace is a team that grows on confidence. So once their confidence is up, they begin to perform. and definitely they are going to get back to form. And that form they are going to hit back is exactly what we are seeing already with the game they played against Liverpool yesterday in the early kickoff game. Now, the early kickoff is always very tricky. It is either it has very few goals or it has a lot of goals, but most of the times it has few goals. So Liverpool starting on a high. One would think that Liverpool will go ahead to score more goals, but then the early kickoff just being the early kickoff, Crystal Palace somehow found their way back into the game, and they were actually knocking at the Liverpool defense to see if they could get an equalizer. So, but at the end of the day, I can say it was not such a surprising result because in the past, Liverpool have always struggled against Liverpool. I can remember the game when Liverpool was coached by was the former coach who later coached Leicester City, Brandon Rodgers. I remember the game when Liverpool were second on the log, they were willing to win the league. They were top of the log actually before they played that game, and they got robbed by Yannick Bolasie. I call it the Yannick Bolasie show because it was Yannick Bolasie who stole the show that day. And from there, you move on, and you still remember that last season, towards the tail end of the season, Crystal Palace also beat Liverpool when Liverpool were still in the quest for the title race. It was at the point it was a three-horse race: Liverpool, Arsenal, and Manchester City.
Yeah.
But after Liverpool lost that game, they fell out of the race. And then you still go back. You remember that every other time Liverpool had faced Crystal Palace, it has always been a tough game. I remember the game when Jurgen Klopp had issues with a media person who was interviewing him because they had just lost a game against Crystal Palace in an early kickoff. So Liverpool and Crystal Palace in an early kickoff game is always being a game decided by tight margins. And on Saturday, it was still the same story. So it wasn't so much of a surprise, but it is still the EPL being the EPL.
Yeah, well, let me touch base with you right quick. Sometimes coaches, it looks like they stumble on luck or maybe circumstances. That game, Crystal Palace started that game with, if you remember, with 3-men defense and 4 midfielders and 2 in front. And injuries to Munoz and Mitchell made them to go back to flat 4 because he had to take out this guy from Chaluba from Chelsea, dropped Matete behind Nketiah and played flat 4. Then made Chelsea, gave him the responsibility to create for the team. So and that helped them to be kind of a little bit more of a contest for against Liverpool. Then I don't know if Matete is a fan favorite in Crystal Palace.
Yes.
Since this year, I think he's the third in terms of goals scored behind Haaland and I think Salah. I can't remember the other person.
Yes, he is.
And because of Nketiah coming in, he's not been starting for Crystal Palace. And when he came in, it looked like the fans are not really happy with that decision. So, how do you all these come together as for a coach? First of all, your traditional 3 at the back you started with. And do you think that helped Crystal Palace, or is it more of what you just said? Is Crystal Palace against Liverpool? At some point, they're going to find their mojo and then begin to. I'm talking to Ugum.
Okay.
Yeah. What I saw was I thought Crystal Palace started that game well. I thought that losing Munoz to injury was a blow. Because he started the game well. He got into some really good attacking positions. It was a real downgrade replacing Nathaniel Klein. Klein is, not quite up to task anymore for that position for Crystal Palace. Having said that, he was up against this guy that's been in terrific form for Liverpool. What's his name there?
Yes.
The Dutch guy. Huh?
Okay, Cody Gakpo.
Cody Gakpo, yes. He was up against Cody Gakpo, and it was a big problem. So I think that at some point, like you said, second half they recovered enough to bring the game back against Liverpool. For the case of Mateta, so far Nketiah hasn't scored. Nketiah needs to score a goal to justify dropping Mateta for him. If you're replacing a guy that's been on the good goal scoring form and you are not scoring goals, it's bound to cause disaffection or cause problems within the team. So I can see why there may be issues with fans trusting Mateta more than they trust Nketiah at this point. So the coach really needs to do something. Nketiah needs to get Nketiah scoring goals. Eberechi He's a good player, great player, good goal scorer. But many times, more often than not, he prefers to take a shot than to set up, the center forward to score. Maybe he doesn't quite, he hasn't gotten to that level of rapport with Nketiah yet. But I know he sets up Mateta quite a lot. But then, Kay made a very important point. They are missing Olise in that team.
Yeah,
creativity. When he was there, he brought out the best from both Mateta and Berichez. And we can see that without him there, that team is suffering badly with creativity. Kamada was a player that I actually was hoping Arsenal would look at. I don't know what's happening with him because he's a guy I rated highly before he joined Crystal Palace. I hope he finds his form for the sake of the team.
Okay, yeah, and like you mentioned, the Berichez lost one very, 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 very. Took a very poor execution of a chance that Matete created for him at the towards the end of that game. They would have ended that game with at least a 1-1 draw, and he just scuffled that chance. Nketiah himself had one glorious chance as well in the first half, and he scuffled it. So yeah, they are struggling to score goals, and Matete, who has been helping them all this while, is on the bench. So the coach probably has some work to do. But before we move on to the next one, let me ask you, Kay, being a referee, there was an incident in that game. Van Dijk held onto Guehi for a corner kick for too long. And as far as I'm concerned, we have seen a lot of those given as a penalty. For me, looking at it from my perspective, not a professional referee, I just felt maybe the only reason why they didn't give that pen was because Guehi tried to stay on his feet. But it was very evident that he Van Dijk held onto him for too long. I don't know, what's your opinion about that incident?
All right. Just on Sunday, yesterday, I was at a conference, a CAF and FIFA referees conference, and this particular matter was discussed. We didn't even know it was ongoing on the pitch already in the Premier League, but we discussed this matter. And there's something called football understanding for a referee, because football generally is a contact sport. It's a contact sport, so there will always be contact. So there's something called upper body contact. Whenever our players are, launching for the ball, they are struggling to get to the ball, and there's upper body contact. Most of the time, what we consider is the effectiveness, the effect of the contact. How much effect has it had on the attacking player? Because most of the time, it is always the defending player trying to hold or pull the defending player. So now, how much impact does that holding or pulling have on the attacking player? So in this situation, Van Dijk was the one holding Guehi. And then, yes, you look at that situation very well, because I had actually taken my time to go through that video and go over it over and over. And you will see that at the end of the day, there was no way Guehi was going to get to the ball. He wasn't going to get to the ball. Van Dijk held him, yes. But then, how much impact did it have in the play? Maybe last season, this would have been given as a penalty. Maybe. But the laws of the game is usually reformed on yearly basis after the IFAB has its meeting. And, they have come out this year to say, look, we understand that this is a contact sport and there will always be contact. We cannot keep giving penalties for every contact you see in a game. So that probably was the reason the referee did not give that one as a penalty. There was contact, but then how much of an impact did that have on Guehi? If he had not held Guehi, would Guehi have gotten to the ball? Probably not, because if there was another defender there, who could have cleared the ball if Guehi had left Van Dijk.
Yeah, I agree with you, but not 100%, because you never can tell if Guehi was not held. If Guehi was not held, nobody knows the extent that his movement would have taken him closer to the ball or affected other things that would have led to. So that's
why it is a contact sport.
Yeah, exactly. But having said, one thing I agree with you is that, like you said, last season they gave a lot of penalties like that, and probably they looked at it and said, no, we can't keep doing this. It's making it look too much of a non-contact sport anymore. Nowadays. So yeah, I can agree with that. But from what we have seen in the past, that would have been a blatant penalty. And I don't know if you are still.